Hey everyone, I just got myself a pair of swimming trunks, but they also told me to get a pair of complimentary goggles. I have no idea why. Ultraman fighter jets, something that we used to take for granted. Every Ultraman show had jets, it was one of the commandments. So here's a brief overview of what a typical Ultraman episode looks like. A mystery happens. Mystery is found to be caused by the monster or alien. Monster attacks, it gets too bad, and Ultraman arrives to save the day. Notice how the Ultraman only appears in a quarter of all of that. So what happens in the majority of the rest of the episode? The human defense teams, or the humans, must act. And they act by fighting off the threat with the best option that humanity had: flying jets. While it is something that's present throughout the franchise, today we'll be taking a look at the jets and aircrafts of the early Heisei era of the series, from Ultraman Tiga to Ultraman Mebius, because this era, to me at least, had the best utilization of jets, and I have the most embarrassing feelings towards them. I guess this is the part where I put on the goggles. Let's start with Mido Skyfish from Ultraman Zearth, which earned so many points in my book for emerging from the billboard. In addition, the second Zearth movie featured the Sky Shark, a pretty luxurious ship with a lot of cool stuff. It also has a freaking Zeton beam armed. Oh wait, hold on a second. Is that the art d'essai? Ultraman Tiga brought some really iconic designs to the aircrafts, courtesy of the Global Unlimited Task Squad Guts. It's important to note beforehand that with jets, the producers also intend for them to be sold as toys, just like the Ultraman and the monsters, so it is important that they look cool within the show and make for great things to play with. The Guts Wing 1 has got to be one of the most iconic jet designs in the series, and it's inspired by a squid. A cool thing about the Guts Wings 1 and 2 are their abilities to open and close their wings and cannons respectively, with their toys able to do the same thing. Personally, I think that the Guts Wings succeed as a design because they reflect the sleekness of a new era with a striking color scheme, or it's because they were associated with the most beloved entry in the franchise. But Guts also had another notable aircraft, the Art d'Essai. This was a huge multi-purpose spaceship that played pretty significant roles in both Ultraman Tiga and Ultraman Dyna. In the series, it was portrayed as a landmark of technology, utilizing the new Maxima Overdrive technology, and later as one of the surviving bastions against the Lord of Darkness Gatanozoa. A lot of Ultraman Tiga's toy line at the time also revolved around the Art d'Essai, with it being a hub toy of sorts alongside the dive hangar to house the other smaller jets. Overall, a really impressive lineup of jets, considering all of them are very memorable in the present day. Very impressive indeed, but we're gonna have to go through the next ones quite a bit faster because I can't possibly go through all of them, can I? Can I? From my own observations, it seems that this era of the Ultra series continuously tried to reiterate the vehicles with new fun gimmicks that could potentially be interesting in the series. It's either that, or they did it to make the toys be more appealing. I also have to add that this is probably my favorite era for jets and mechas in the series. So, in brief, here is what they all did. Ultraman Dyna's Guts Eagle paid homage to the Ultra 7's Ultra Hawk by having one major aircraft that can split into three. Nicely built upon the Guts Wings by providing more battle formations and utility. The colors also very nicely complement Ultraman Dyna himself, which I'm not sure if it was intentional or not. They also had an upgrade halfway through with the Guts Eagle Alpha Superior, a faster, stronger, and focused more on accuracy version of the regular Eagle Alpha. However, I have to say that I lean more towards the original Guts Eagle Alpha, probably because it looks sleeker compared to the new one. Ultraman Gaia had the container vehicles, or container mecha. All the mechas in Gaia unfolded from these blocks of containers housed within the Peace Carry. It includes the Shig Fighters and the land tank Stinger, among others. The defense organization Shig was massive, and this lineup really gives off that impression, with so many special but specific uses for each of these themes. The ability to open up from these box shapes also make for really cool collectible toys. Ultraman Cosmos Tech Jets and Core Modules. The tech is spelled with two C's. Basically, the core modules are the main components which can be matched into any of the other larger jets. So basically a simple mix and match type of aircraft. The designs of the jets like the Tech Spinner and the Tech Thunder are really cool, giving off more of a space journey vibe compared to Ultraman Gaia's militaristic jets. At least that's the impression that I get. However, I don't know if its main mix and match gimmick is that appealing, considering the jets do kinda look similar to each other. Ultraman Nexus' Chrome Chesters by the Night Raiders. The small vehicles that can make up different configurations for land, sea, or air operations. Actually pretty creative, and I like that it's not simply focused on aerial utility, but also other terrains as well. I would say that this is a step up on the mix and match gimmick. Ultraman Max's Dash Machines, a bit more traditional, kinda similar to the Shig's Peace Carry, as they have one big aircraft called the Dash Mother, and smaller jets called the Dash Birds. They can unfold their wings, and the Dash Alpha is a car that can fly. Someone better get Dash before they claim a monopoly on the flying cars! I think that all of these were certainly big steps up from the Showa era, and from each other even, with more focus on the attack team's efforts using the vehicles and their maneuvers on the missions. They were certainly written to be better support for the Ultraman. Another thing that I noticed is that in this era, there's a lot more of the Ultraman acknowledging the jets by flying next to them or giving nods and thumbs up, showing a cute little sign of teamwork over there. However, this next series really upped the standard for the franchise's jets. Ultraman Mebius' guys had mechas in the form of the Gun Phoenix jets, Gun Winger, Gun Loader, and later the Gun Booster. They could combine and split together, but what makes it special is the meteor technology, basically weapons created by studying tech from other aliens. When activated on the jets, Meteor allows them to perform crazy maneuvers like erratic movements called phantom aviation and use super strong attacks like the Bringer Fan and Specium missiles. This stuff really made them actually feel like they could stand a chance against all the crazy things that threaten Earth, and they came closest to giving the feeling of humans actually fighting side by side with Ultraman. But it's still not to ridiculous levels, because they're only limited to 1 minute of use out of safety protocols, so they still need to be clever when they use it. It's pretty cathartic too, considering Mebius builds off of the Showa timeline, which gives proof that humanity really has been progressing all this time. I dare say that up to this point, this was the best way that the fighter jets have been handled in the franchise. Other than the usual poster jets, there's also some special iterations that show up throughout the shows. Guts and Super Guts had a lot of these, especially since the organization spanned across both Tiga and Dyna stories. The Snow White was the type of Guts wing that was designed for special flight using the Neo Maxima technology. The Black Buster Corps division of TPC also used Black Guts wings. And in Ultraman Mebius, there was the Guy's Ocean, which also had their own variation of the Gun Winger called the Sea Winger. And we cannot forget about the base headquarters that could also become a flying aircraft. In Ultraman Gaia's case, the base was a flying aircraft. Shig's headquarters is the aerial base, which is stationed above the clouds. It utilizes the repulsor lift technology to stay afloat, and was subject to attack many times throughout the series. Despite this, the HQ was certainly a normal HQ, but when push came to shove, it had to be used in a last-ditch effort against the enormous enemy Mokian. Next is the Phoenix Nest from Ultraman Mebius, which around halfway through or so in the series was shown to be itself capable of flight and actually packing firepower on its own through the meteor technology. This was called the Phoenix Nest Flight Mode. How cool is that? Jets are and will always be a really cool part of the series. They serve as the main vehicle for the humans to fight side by side with the giant heroes, both figuratively and literally. But do they always succeed though? They're known as a support for a reason. In the end, these things may not provide the strongest ability or firepower to fight, but they serve their purpose. It's not just about humans fighting all by themselves, or the Ultraman being the only one who can fight, but it's about showing the effort and synergy between both forces in the efforts to protect. and as long as they look cool doing it, I'm always invested. And even in the context of the story's role, it's about building tension and showing the actual hard work in fighting and defeating a kaiju. So, let me know, which of these are your favorites, or even any that I didn't mention, because I know damn well someone's gonna bring up the Hexajets from Ultraman Nice. Personally, I can't decide on a favorite, because every time I do, I look at another one and go, whoa, that looks so sick. Then another one comes up, and then I go, whoa, I like that one too. And then the cycle just goes on and on.